Okay. How many cases of applesauce? One. Perfect. Nice short ribs. Okay, good. All right, so listen, what do we got here? Where's the fine noodles? Hey, come on, mueve tu culo. What is it, 5:30? Come on. People see the glamour. This is not glamorous business. It's how we make a living and put food on our table. That's great. I know what I'm eating for lunch. Okay, so you go see Victor, have breakfast, get something to eat. No problem, you got it.
What makes a good deli?
Pastrami.
Very lovely chicken fat. Soups. The pickles, the peppers, the sauerkraut.
Flanken.
The coleslaw, the potato salad.
The bursting flavor of that incredible juiciness of that hot dog. Boy, it was sexual.
The smell has to hit you the second you open the door, preferably half a block away.
Depends on the guy who runs it. That's the whole key.
If they greet you and there's a personality there, it means a lot.
Now listen, make sure everything is nice and clean and sweet, okay?
Made potato pancakes.
My boss is crazy. He put this on, he's only here 2 weeks.
Tom, which means flavor.
Your meats have to be fantastic.
Be careful on the slicing machine. Don't give a customer half your finger.
Your rye bread has to be fantastic. Your mustard has to be fantastic.
But a great jelly sandwich is simplicity at its finest form, which is the hardest thing to achieve.
Make sure that it's the same quality every time they come in.
You have to stay with the times. At the same time, you can't lose your core menu.
This is our kishka, okay?
Giving a product that you can't get anyplace else.
Deli should be crowded. An empty deli is a sad day.
This is going to table number 6.
All right, got it.
Okay?
A deli is hands-on.
Number 6.
It can't be run like Burger King or McDonald's.
Blitz's pancake and noodle kugel, okay? All right, get out of my window. Come on.
Delicatessen is nuance. If something is off, how do you fix it? To recognize it.
Hey, who's cutting the sturgeon? Don't put so much pressure on the knife. A little less pressure, so it's got bigger slices. I don't like that.
The rules are simple. Buy good food, prepare it well, but above all, be a mensch.
All right, how we doing, guys?
Doing great.
Do we have enough food to watch the game?
You betcha.
Did you have a good yonta?
It was wonderful.
Good,
Thank
I'm
you.
glad.
How about you?
Oh, I had a wonderful yonta. It's always nice to run a shul and relax a little bit.
Yes.
I first knew I was going into the delicatessen business when my grandfather saw me in a booth at 8 years old, and he said, "Listen, you're old enough, it's time to make a living," and threw an apron at me. And I listened to him. It was my grandfather. You don't talk back to him. He grabbed the apron, I put it on, and I went in the back, and I was helping him core out cabbage.
1 cup, George. Clean up that plate. Clean up that plate. That's messy.
I'm third generation in the delicatessen business. My grandfather had the first delicatessen restaurant on Broadway called the Rialto Delicatessen Restaurant. And he opened that up in the height of the Depression. And they were told by Walter Winchell, in fact, he wrote it in the column, he said that it was either going to be a fantastic success or one of the worst sideshows Broadway ever saw.
Ziggy was so close to his grandfather. It was like Mutt and Jeff all the time. He would prefer to spend time with his grandfather in the deli than he would with a lot of his peers.
I would say that my grandparents were his best friends, and they made him one of them.
My Aunt Gusta, she used to make blintzes, but the blattlich was too thick, and they were like a stain, like a stone.
Since he was a little kid, he's been an 80-year-old Jew. Like my mother used to call him the displaced sperm, that he came out in the wrong generation. Because he sounded like he got off the boat in the Lower East Side at the turn of the century, and that was it.
My grandparents spoke Yiddish. They were Yiddish. My grandfather was from Hungary. My grandmother was from Czernowitz, Romania. I saw my grandparents every day, and they started speaking Yiddish, and I joined in. And my grandfather says, this is mein Kind. This is my child. I liked speaking the old language because I felt I was kind of in this club. And you know how people have all these contemporary friends. My contemporary friends were like, 70, 60, 80. My grandfather used to say, there's just so much you need. You can wear one pair of pants at a time, drive one car at a time. How much does somebody need? The deli is a bubble. The rest of the world goes, but you're in this world, the modern day of Isaac Bashevis Singer world. That's the way I live, that's the way I live.
The first delis in New York and in America began to appear on the Lower East Side at the very end of the 1840s and the beginning of the 1850s. This coincides with the beginning of the Great German Migration. So for the homesick German longing for a taste of bratwurst or knackwurst or of Westphalian ham, pumpernickel bread, the place to go was this new culinary institution, the delicatessen. The first Jewish delis were German Jewish delis. They were the counterpart to establishments that sold pork products. The new Jewish migration, Russian and Eastern and Central European Jews that began to arrive in the U.S. in the 1880s and 1890s were culturally really quite distinct from their German co-religionists. They did not speak German, they spoke Yiddish. They did not live in cities, these were shtetl Jews, and when they arrived in New York, they essentially discovered the delicatessen. This was not a food institution with which they were familiar.
Many of the main early people who ate deli were people who worked in factories and sweatshops, who could pick this stuff up. It was fairly cheap. It tasted good. A sandwich and a pickle was basically a meal, and basically fast food.
Delicatessen was more than just food. It was something that was for the soul, for the heart. It changed your life. It's something you deserved after working your ass off all day. When I was working with my pal, A.B. Melnick, he'd sell a watermelon slice for a penny a slice. And I would be with him all day long. And when the day was over, we'd count the money. He'd give me $1. And then at the end of the week, the big reward was he took me into a delicatessen and we had a sandwich. And that was where I worked like a dog for that pastrami sandwich.
In a certain way, kids became Americanized by eating delicatessen. We think of it as this ethnic institution, but the delicatessen was not ethnic to them. And it was very different than your mother's cooking. Mothers complained, there's too much spice, there's too much pepper in the delicatessen, you're going to get indigestion. Well, that's what the kids wanted. And in time, these Russians and Poles and Romanians and Lithuanians begin to open their own delicatessens, which take on this Yiddish flavor.
These were immigrants. These are the children of immigrants. This was a living that they could make. And it was the idea to give their family a better life and a better chance.
Max, my father, came over on the boat. He was 19 years old. He left Hungary and he came by himself. Went to school to learn English. My father had to get a job. Somebody told him, try a restaurant, and that's what he did. And he says it was good because he liked to eat. When you come to this country, you have no money. So he said, fine, I'll try it.
In those days in Poland, anti-Semitism was
unbearable. I came with my mother and sister. I was 16 years old. And when we got to the foot of the New York Harbor, I ran up on top of the ship to see the Statue of Liberty. After being welcomed by the Statue of Liberty, I sort of said to myself, I'm going to make it in America.
Grandpa, Al, he was 5 when he moved from Russia and came to Toronto. He was amazing. I mean, he was so humble and such a hard worker and so grateful.
Al met Nate Reimer at a famous deli called Boesky's in Detroit and got the crazy idea to come out to California and try to open up their own deli. And in 1945, opened up Nate and Al's.
Everybody was saying, Meshuggah, what are you crazy? Hollywood's over there. What's Beverly Hills? I remember my grandmother explaining why Beverly Hills, because it wasn't commercial, it was residential. He saw it as a place where he could be successful, had a better opportunity to be grassroots and service the community.
My grandparents were from Russia and Poland. They first came over, the kids were young, they got the deli, which was canned goods and most of that stuff, and you would live in the back, and a little stove and so on, and that's how the family did. And when they got a little bit better and they made a little bit more money, they would move. I mean, my father tells me a story that Hebrew National would help get leases for places and give lots of credit to buy the product. So my father looked in here and he said, wow, this one speaks to me.
There was a delicatessen on every single corner in New York City. And, Mom would be in the back and Pop would be behind the counter and everyone was better than the next. People would have an attachment to deli. Like they would say, oh, my delicatessen on my block is better than your delicatessen on your block, Everyone had that pride of their delicatessen store.
There was no question of what Ziggy wanted to do. He was only waiting to graduate high school and then go to Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park.
When I was 15 years old, my grandfather passed away, and I took it very, very badly. And my mom said, look, I'm going to take you to England. My mother is English. To meet some of your cousins. You've never met them before. So, to get your mind off of what's going on with your grandpa.
I had taken him to England for a vacation. And on our way to Chester, which is a very big city, my father said, David, now that's one of the best culinary colleges. It's a cordon bleu college, he said, that you could ever go in. And Ziggy said, stop the car.
I met the guy over there, the headmaster. It happened to be the summertime, so he was there. And I said, look, I'd like to be in your culinary school. He says, well, do you have any A levels or O levels? That's the equivalent of a high school diploma. I said, no, I don't.
Ziggy took over. He gave himself his own interview. And when we walked out, he says, I'm going in there in the fall.
So I turned around to him and I said, listen, do you have a discretionary fund over here, for stuff like that? He says, yeah. I said, well, we could make a nice donation to the discretionary fund.
He knew what he wanted, and he excelled. Ziggy has his own head, and you can't tell him anything. He knows what he wants to do.
Except for one thing, that Gene didn't particularly want him to go into the deli business. He wanted him to go into fine dining, and so when he graduated, because he was the number one, he got accepted into the Le Gavroche, which is the Roux Brothers.
That was the only 3-star Michelin place at that time. So I was on track to being a fancy guy that my father dreamed of. I mean, I cooked for the Queen of England on more than one occasion, but there was something missing for me. And I went back to New York, and they had the Deli Man's Association dinner. I looked around the room, and I saw all these 80-year-old guys, 70-year-old guys. There was no young people in this room. And I turned around to my dad and I said, who is going to perpetuate this food? It was like a light bulb that went in my head, and I said to myself, this is my calling. Someone's got to take this and take it and continue it. And then I turned around to my uncle and my dad and I said, I am not going to go back to England. I am going to go back into business with you, and we're going to take this thing to another level.
Oh, mama, ain't that Texas cooking something? Oh, mama, stop your belly backbone bumping. Oh, mama, ain't that Texas cooking good? Oh, mama, eat every day if I could.
If you would have told me I would have ended up in Houston, I would have said you're crazy.
The first incorrect assumption that lots of Jewish people from the North make is that there aren't any Jews in the South. In fact, there were more Jews in the South before the Civil War than there were in the North. There were more Jewish generals in the Confederate Army than there were in the Northern Army. Jews started arriving in this part of the world in the 1500s. Sephardic Jews from Spain fleeing the Inquisition. The Jews wanted to be as far away from the authorities of the church as possible, and so they tended to gravitate to El Norte, as they called northern Mexico and Texas. In fact, one of the great urban myths of Texas Jews is that flour tortillas were invented as unleavened bread for Passover.
This is a shtetl down here. This is not like New York or Los Angeles. I mean, we're very big, don't get me wrong. We have a nice-sized Jewish population, but it's more of a shtetl. I mean, everyone knows everybody. It's like Deliverance for Jews down here because everyone's related. Do we have enough to eat? No?
Jews are tough. They're tough, they're fickle, pain in the tush, particularly when it comes to food. Food's very important to Jewish people. Before Ziggy, there were a few delicatessens, and everybody get all excited about them, and we'd rush to them, and, within months.
I will be glad to do it for you after Yom Tif, no problem.
And then Kenny and Ziggy's arrived on the scene, and wow, this was different. There was a lot of buzz. Everybody started flocking to it, but they stayed.
If you want the most perfect matzo ball, that's perfect.
I think that everybody sensed that. The delicatessen wasn't a fake. It was New York here in Houston, but it was real New York.
Beautiful, golden. It's like smelling like Grandma's kitchen over here, right? It's like beautiful, and you got the aromas and everything. I mean, you could be, on Avenue A.
You put that person, that personality to the restaurant. You want to go because you want to see Ziggy, in addition to having a great pastrami sandwich.
We call them the girls, but it's Darlene and Judy. They eat here every single day, practically. And sometimes twice a day. They do. But they are definitely, they're originally from Detroit, so they know what good deli is. They've known me from day one. And let me tell you, they've seen me go through more relationships than you shake a stick at.
Oh, my God. How long do we have? Do you know how many people have tried to fix him up? I've tried to fix him up.
I want you to look at this and make sure that you agree with me on the portions. In the art of love and business, I think Ziggy compromises better with business than he does with love. Well, thank you for your opinion. No. I said, I know you want a Jewish girl. You just got to look like this. There is no perfect person like that. And I've even said to him, look at you, Ziggy. You're no Brad Pitt. I said, but you're lovable.
I've, lived through everything from, says, all of his dating experiences where, 1,000,001 gold diggers, 1,000,001. Yeah, just girls who are dating for the wrong reason, wrong personality types. His unfortunate breakup with his fiancée at one time, which was very painful for him and very painful for the people around him that love him.
That my mistress is the deli.
Even worse is when you have to listen to it for the next year and a half. That makes it more painful for me.
I don't see it happening ever. Ziggy is married to the deli. And in order to do what you have to do to commit yourself to a marriage, you either have to divorce your wife or divorce your deli.
It is a tough business. It's not a respectable, comfortable, middle-class profession. It's a daily battle, and it's a great way to lose a lot of money if you want to sort of open one and invest in one. Only kind of the Meshuggahs go into it.
That's the best part. Kind of makes you want to horror, doesn't it? That's my baby. People often ask me how I got into this business, and I half-jokingly say it's mental illness.
And this is our dishwashing section over here. These are called monkey dishes. Well, every month I buy 300. You know why? Because they throw them out by mistake. From the minute I come in to the minute I go home, from 4 in the morning to 9 o'clock, I don't sit down.
We call this place a beast. I come home, half hour with the wife, that's it, I'm going to sleep.
You're on when everybody's off. When everybody's out having a good time, they're having it at your place, you're working.
My father checked in there. He went to the Minion at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then at 7:45, he opened up that deli. There's so many things you have to do to get it started. You got to get the huge corned beefs into the steamer, bring the beer from downstairs and bring it up to the fridge, pickle the corned beefs, the potato salad. He'd wash up like a surgeon, peel the potatoes, you'd chop it up with your hand, and then he went into that vat with his mayonnaise and
My father was always working hard. He used to work nights. He used to work weekends. He'd work, early in the morning. I would never see him in the morning.
I knocked on the front door, and my son answered, and he yells out to my wife, Mommy, there's a strange man at the front door.
I never took my daughter the first day of school. I didn't see her the first day of school, ever.
Our family used to come in and have their Friday night dinners here. And what our children resented is that everybody walked by and wanted to know what they were eating.
Where's Jose? Is he at the cantina?
You help, they can make you or break you.
You don't have the old-timer that used to work in a deli for 40 years.
All the countermen back then, they're wearing a tie, they're wearing the white thing, they were all like, they were immigrants, and they took a pride in what they did.
I had a little kid working for me, and I tried to break him in as a manager. I never had managers. I was always there 24/7. I left him alone one day. This is 5 years, working with me 7 days a week. I find him drunk laying under the counter. That was the end of him. That was the end of managers. That was the end of that.
You're dealing with items that you have to prepare, and the customer is very finicky and very particular.
If I go to a deli and I have a corned beef sandwich and I don't like the way it tastes, I will never go back to that deli again. Ever, not ever, not ever. If they came to my house and begged me, I would not go to that deli.
Why anybody would want to go in this business, I have no idea. Deli is 99% meat, and it's really going up and up in price.
I look at the numbers from the deli and I cry. For real, our staff comes, they say, why are you in such a bad mood? I was looking at the books again today.
Our food costs are huge, and the net profits, I won't even tell you what I think they are. If you were an investor, you would not be looking here.
I don't know if it's worth it anymore. Only an idiot like me still hangs in there.
Okay, boys, I'll see you later. I've been stressed out for the holidays, like I usually get, and I'm going over to see Mary, who happens to be a doctor of Chinese medicine. She is going to give me some needles to reduce my stress and some of my little aches and pains. Just when you think, you know what, you're not a youngster, it's all over with, you're not going to get that opportunity, I go and I meet Mary. Mary grew up as a Catholic, but she loved Jewish culture. And I met her in synagogue while I was doing this catering job because she was, going to services on Fridays and Saturdays to see what Judaism was all about and to see if this is something she would like to do on her own, like convert on her own. And we became friends. Yeah. We don't have the challah. There's no challahs. No. Holy shit. You know what? Holy shit. I didn't fucking... I'm so tied away with this. I didn't call all the challahs in. Oh my God. No. Shit. I'm going to call now, okay? All right, but I'm fixing to go get poked.
All right.
Man, no Milky Ways.
Milky Ways? No, but there's Three Musketeers.
Nah, I'm not a Three Musketeer type of guy. And then you can do like a couple in the, like here
That's
and
fine.
whatever, and then you can massage my feet at the same time.
you're taking this one to the bank, aren't you? You're really,
We're getting the full
now that we're here,
enchilada. Can you tell I'm stressed today?
Maybe you're always stressed.
I take vacations. What are you talking
You do
about?
not. No, there's always an excuse.
Well, we're going on vacation. We're going to New York.
Yeah, and so you can go visit bagel places and delis.
Well, it's a busman's holiday. What do you want? Mm-hmm. See, now that one's a good one. That one opens up your sinuses and makes you feel good. And you take a deep breath and go. And that challah thing. Ooh.
We're not going to talk about the deli right now. You're supposed to relax. I'm Ziggy's in-house doctor. Yeah, if his back is hurting, I'm over. I'm working on his back. If his stomach's hurting, I'm working on his stomach. He has so much stress, and it's good that I'm helping him exercise and take care of his health and rest, and it's a process. Is it tender? Anything tender?
What's wrong? Oh my
No,
God.
why'd you do that?
Yeah. 1773.
Okay, 1773.
Bueno.
Okay, 1.
Gracias. Supposed to say de nada.
Gefielte Fisch, gefielte Fisch. Siz a Michael so 1000 Tamen. Hab zuerst versicht es war der Mamen.
When I started in the Yiddish theater in the middle 30s, it was a big industry. All the shows broke at the same time. Thousands of people were on 2nd Avenue. And I used to watch that and get a thrill. And they're all talking about the play, good, bad, or indifferent. They didn't go home. They went to restaurants. And where did they go? We had numerous delicatessens around. Even the stagehands used to go to the deli. One stagehand told me, I'm going to have a steak with a lining. A steak with a lining in the deli over there. What's the lining? Garlic.
The one actor who I always remember liking deli was Zero Mostel, and Ann and myself were in a play called The Good Woman of Szechuan at the Phoenix Theater with Uta Hagen, and Zero was in the show. And during the lunch breaks, since we're on 2nd Avenue and 12th Street, he would go over to Katz's to eat, and I would schlep along with him. Well, Zero would always kibitz with the counterman and start doing jokes with them, talk Yiddish with them. So they say, "Hey, Zero, how are you?" And he says, "Oh, everything's great. I'm going to play down here on 2nd Avenue, and Jerry Stiller's here with me with Ann Muir. And we're going to have a pastrami sandwich." The sandwich ended up, at least like a half a foot big. And because the guy was catering to Zero Mostel. Jerry, give Jerry a sandwich. He gave me a sandwich. He gave me 3 slices. What can I tell you?
New York is the cultural, spiritual homeland of Jewish deli, and the deli grew from an immigrant ethnic food to a trend that was really in the mainstream in the 30s and 40s, when Jews were starting to be accepted and not just viewed as kind of that immigrant outsider. They were integrating themselves into the city, into business, into entertainment, and they introduced those signature tastes to the rest of the country.
Okay, here we are. This is my menu collection. I'm out of shape. I wanted to collect these menus because I wanted to preserve deli culture, and I loved it so much. And I learned a lot from these people, you know, by looking at their menus and saw dishes maybe that we didn't do. Some of these menus go back from the 20s to the 30s. Like you have Lindy's. Leo Lindy was a fantastic operator.
Delis as restaurants became glamorous. And I think one of the real ambassadors in that sort of movement was Lindy's. It was one of these delis that opened in the theater district. So theater people and comedians went to Lindy's and they had these sandwiches named after them. And deli acquired a kind of cachet. There was like a kind of swinging quality to delicatessen.
This is an original stage deli menu when Max Asness had it. Max was a fantastic operator. He was wonderful. He had a sense of humor like nobody else. They called him the Corned Beef Confucius.
I was on the track one day, and a guy asked me for $200. So I walk away from him. I didn't want to answer him. I didn't want to have no conversation with the fellow. So he says, if you don't give me the money, can't you give me an answer? I said, it's better I should owe you the answer than you should owe me the 200.
I mean, the stage was one of those delis that really resonated with the American public. And Max Asness wasn't saying, well, this is an authentic deli, it has to be kosher, it has to have this. He's saying, I want everybody's business. I want everybody to love this. So you want cheese on your sandwich? Sure. You want ham? Sure, not a problem, you know? And people, I mean, you know, the Jews, a lot of Jews said, well, this is wrong, it has to be a kosher deli. But by doing that, they opened the deli up from this thing for us that was something for everyone.
Stage was number one because Max Asness was a movie star. 1 block away from Stage Deli, nobody knew we existed until Max died and Leo Steiner came in with Milton Parker and made the Carnegie into what it is today.
Is that first cut? A Roman, he's no on white.
Leo Steiner invented the big sandwiches. Instead of 4 or 5 ounces, 10 ounces, 12 ounces. And he started making a sandwich like that. And Parker was going nuts and saying, we're giving too much, take some off. So Leo said, okay, he put some more on. He made it heavier.
The Carnegie Deli sandwich is world class. You have to go for a jaw adjustment after you eat the sandwich because it's so big, you can blow your jaw. But they were located on 7th Avenue, and all the comedians used to go there for lunch and stand out in front and talk and lie about their jobs.
Look at all the pictures on the walls. I got 4,000 pictures.
All the old comedians were Jewish. They used to be here all the time, every single day. Shecky Green, Milton Berle, Mel Brooks. Everybody went for a Frankfurter and a Knish. Today, a Frankfurter and Knish is $10, $12. In those days, you're talking about $1 and you get change.
When Leo Steiner had the Carnegie Deli, one of the best customers was Henny Youngman. When I say best customer, he never paid a penny.
When Henny went to the deli, he would ask me to come along with other people who were in the business maybe. And while he ordered food, he'd start telling jokes.
They loved him because he did shtick with everybody. Walking, he says, I want a table near a waiter. He did 2 jokes. He thought that was ample pay for his check.
He was the cheapest bastard in the history of the world.
The deli is New York because it's New York.
They cannot compare with what we have in New York. It's like George Burns said, once you go to Newark, you're on the road.
Tony knows how to speak Yiddish. Tony, I want to ask you a question. What do you say on Passover?
Oh,
He says it better than Charlton Heston.
There's an atmosphere at a deli. The waiters are part of a deli.
The waiter at our deli was a lover of chazonis, and he'd be delivering the food and singing to the people. You know, it's like, hey, do you want your French fries? Well done or regular?
A lot of people who come in and don't realize what they're getting themselves into. We bring them to the table, we say, okay, sit down, eat fast, and get out.
Yeah, your waitress will bite you here. You know, you'll get a deserve it. You'll get big.
Even if you've never been there before, they're going to talk to you like you're there 3 times a day, which is that mixture of lack of respect and affection that you can only show with family members.
I don't know. I treat the customers like mushrooms. I feed them shit, keep them in the dark. No.
Have the milk. Never have lox. Lox is very salty. You don't want it.
I never got what I wanted. I used to see, I like the pot roasters, nem the chicken. You zog the nem the chicken. He gives me the chicken, I take a look, the pot roast is so beautiful. And that's been going on for years that way. And I always sat at his table like an idiot. I was a masochist.
I think you have to really understand what a customer likes.
Sure, do you guys want to do any potato pancakes or anything?
But we want noodles in our matzo balls.
Sure, it comes with all that. Some chicken noodle soup with a dumpling.
You have to say to the customer, what do you like? Do you like lean? Do you like juicy? And you don't want to make a deli customer not happy. Trust me on that one.
A deli customer is the worst goddamn restaurant customer you could ever have.
You know, the old-time grandmother, she says, the matzo ball soup is too salty. I said, did you try it? She said, no. It looks too salty.
I want the whitefish, but I only want it between the 6th and 7th vertebrae, you know, but I don't want to pay for the whole thing. And what? $6.75 a pound?
Add this. Take this out, do this, make it dry. I want put the center onions. cut this. I want juicy but lean. I want it schmaltzy. I want my corned beef over the counter, but I want it quarter pound I don't want shredded. that piece. The good stuff's in the back.
The soup and coffee has to be burning hot. The air conditioning has to be freezing. And you have to give away half the store for free.
Honey, I've been eating corned beef since before you were born. And your kitchen is not doing it the right way.
Right.
And then she went off in her walker.
Who hung out in delicatessens is the same bums that hung out in the Schwitz, in the steam bath, which is bookies and Jewish criminals and Jewish aspiring criminals who tended to be synagogue presidents. That kind of person.
Lou never couldn't really speak. He could make one sound, and it sounded like this: a bah, a bah, a bah. And Lou would walk in. He was a little guy, sort of a dandy, dressed up. He had a pinky ring, tough, looked tough, like built solid. And he'd look at my father, and go, a bah. So my father says, "Okay, corned beef on rye, Lou. Okay, got that." He'd go, a bah. Oh, heavy on the mustard. All right. He says, a bah. He says, all right. Coke. He says, a bah. To go.
Here we go, and we're going to go into the walk-in. Here we're pickling all the corned beefs over here. Takes us about 45 days to make that. We also got some chicken soup on here. That'll take hours of soup because we want to extract all the goodness out of the vegetables. He's grinding the chopped liver right now. We're putting eggs, we're going to put onions, and we're going to add schmaltz to it. We're doing about 2 or 3 batches a day.
Matzah and cholent are about the only Jewish foods that may stand a chance of being indigenously Jewish. Virtually every other dish that you can identify as Jewish has developed out of foods that are being eaten and prepared by the people amongst whom the Jews were living. They might have changed it and refined it in a way that becomes recognizably Jewish.
So we're making kreplach, seasoned ground beef with garlic, onions, and spices, in a noodle dough, which we make nice and thin. A lot of time in a lot of delicatessen stores, they make it too thick, so all you're tasting is the dough.
Schmaltz is ultimately what determines Jewish food. Schmaltz means fat. In Yiddish usage, unless you qualify it, it's always assumed to refer to poultry fat. It's the WD-40 of the kosher kitchen. It does everything. It's also the KY of the kosher marriage. So chicken, of course, rules, but that was partly because it was available and affordable and easier to steal than a cow's. This is an important fact that one kid can run off with a chicken. You'd need at least 3 kids to steal a heifer. One of the things about Jewish food, it's not one of the subtler foods in the world. Onions, garlic, and maybe a little salt, you don't have to worry about, does it have a tarragon top note? Pastrami and corned beef, stuff like this, wasn't very widespread. If you weren't from Romania, chances are that you didn't know what pastrami was. But the Jewish and kosher restaurants in a place like the Lower East Side in New York were disproportionately run by Romanians. They began to serve this stuff. And lo and behold, you suddenly had Jewish food that had some taste to it.
Nice pastrami sandwich.
Ziggy, sandwiches are great, but what I really think sets him apart is the kitchen food. Those old Yiddish dishes that not a lot of other delis make that he just, his potted meatball, his cabbage roll that just falls apart, his noodle kugel that's like a souffle. I mean, it's just incredible. That type of Yiddish cooking is very hard to come by in delis. The success of Jews in North America is that they have been able to be open and embrace a culture in a way that they never really were able to in Europe. And part of that is eating spaghetti and pizza and Chinese food. I mean, Chinese food is like, it's up there. It's special. But that, of course, supplanted the diet of Eastern European Jews and their descendants. And now this is stuff that happened to every immigrant group in the country. The Italians, for example. But the Italians still have a country that they come from, and their relatives are still there, and new immigrants from Italy can come over and bring that taste of food with them. The Jews don't have that. The Eastern European Jews. There are no more significant populations of Eastern European Jews in Eastern Europe. That was destroyed in the Holocaust. So the Jewish deli is an immigrant restaurant cooking from a place where immigrants no longer come from. So you no longer have a source of the food there. You no longer have a source of recipes. Everything's being done from memory.
There also is a little bit, I don't want to say this, because Jews have assimilated so much in this American culture, they've kind of turned back on their Yiddish culture. They're proud of being Jewish, don't get me wrong. They'll go to synagogue, they'll pray, they'll be religious or still practice the religious traditions. But the Yiddish culture, they've turned their back on. Maybe we can get them all in. All right. Got it? Perfect. Now let it sit and set. Smell it, folks. Smell the love. Wouldn't it be great if you could smell it? And hopefully they can smell it with their eyes. When I cook with all my love and my passion into the food. Fire it up. Ooh, it's good. When I cook, I feel my ancestors around me. I do. And it makes me happy. When I smell that smell, I feel my grandfather right next to me. It's like of times past. And that's what makes me happy. And that's what drives me. What, you want me to add the whole thing? What? Hey, listen, I know about you guys in that cantina in the back there over there. I'm going to have Mike help me because he wouldn't have it any other way. All right, Mike, get in. Come on. And be honest. Oh, you're so soft. Isn't that good?
You didn't lie. The rumors are all true. Oh, my God.
That flavor cries of the old country. You can taste the diaspora. You know what I'm saying? You can taste it. I gotta tell you, I want to keep on eating.
I know, me too.
Maybe we should get another meal.
They've got a meal in the back.
Oh, the deli. It's really healthy food, let me tell you. Just look at the waist size of other people. You can tell it's very, very healthy. I promote it. He actually has really good salads.
Hello. What's going on, buddy? How are you? You doing all right?
I'm doing okay.
You ready to get started?
Yeah.
Come on, let's go.
Now, as I told you last time, I have not worked out in a long time. I kind of went on strike because I used to have this Russian guy work me out, and it was like a gulag.
When was the last time you ate today?
The last time I ate was probably about an hour ago.
Okay, perfect. And what did you eat?
I had a bagel.
Just a bagel?
I had a bagel with some meat on it.
And this sour cream. When was the last time you jogged?
That's a good question.
Okay. Let's go ahead and start and see where you're at, okay? Let me know you can't take anymore.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2. Good. Walk. Walk. Catch your breath. Let's go this way.
Okay, well, let's go to the steam room now.
Yeah. Let's go 15 reps. 1. There you go. 2. There you go. 3. 4. Now we're gonna go down to that position and we're gonna hold it for 10 seconds, okay? Get a split, get a quick break.
Hold on one second. Hold on.
Yep. Shake it out, shake it out. Ready? Let's get up again.
All right.
There you go. And time. Nice. Good. And we're up. Now I'm going to stretch you out just a little bit.
You better call Jeff from Jewish Funeral Services. Do you have any pastries or anything?
Come around a bit.
Sure. I'll take an almond croissant, please.
She comes from a long line of eaters.
Yes. Professionals. Does she do Frere Jacques?
Frere Jacques. Frere Jacques.
My brother ended up in the entertainment business. My brother is very creative, and he writes and directs movies. That's what he does.
So, we're going to meet with our first cousin, Ross Elliott, his father, and our father were in business for many, many years together.
55 years.
It's like, you know, you'd come home, like my father for, you know, he worked
hard.
He said worked 6 days a week for, 45, 50 years. My father beat his body up. He's like the bionic Jew now. They've replaced everything on his body because everything even from his slicing arm, they had to remove all the cartilage from that.
You're right. He's done 2 shoulders, 2 knees, his heart.
Yeah, like everything. You know, it's hard work, but my father loved it. My brother loves it. I started working at the deli at about 8 years old. I actually have a scar on my hand from the first day I ever worked at my father's restaurant cutting pickles. It just wasn't my bag. So I saw my father that, like, when he came home, he had a half day. All he wanted to do was sleep and not hang out. And it just didn't seem, for me, the life I wanted to have.
When I started there, they kept moving me further and further back toward the kitchen. I think my dad started paying me not to go. Although I do remember something really bad I did once. This customer kept sending a hamburger back because it wasn't done enough. It was this, well done, da-da-da. And I brought it back. He's like, oh, you just redid this one. You didn't cook me a new one, and da-da-da. So finally, like, on my way back the 3rd time, I just took it off the bun and smeared it across the greasy wall. Like, the whole time, and then put the bun back on. I was like, here, sir, how do you like me now? But I do remember from early on, Grandpa, everybody just you know, I think it was clear I wasn't going to be the one. And I think everyone was like, David, you know, is the guy to inherit the torch.
Right.
And I actually remember through the years certain things that never changed, like the chopped liver.
You're right.
You know?
Yeah.
Once you get a great recipe, you just stick with it. It's amazing how long those recipes have been going on for.
For years, I mean, and we've perpetuated it.
But the one that got missed, the one that got lost, and I wish it didn't get lost.
I know what you're going to say.
Grandpa's gravy.
Oh my God, you're right.
Grandpa's gravy. It got lost with him, and I have no idea.
I have been trying for years. You know, our gravy. No, it's true.
It's crazy.
Our gravy is close, but it's missing something. I cannot figure out what it is. I have been trying.
The knowledge that we have gotten from our father, can you get it out of a book? I suppose. You can get anything out of a book, but when you grow up with something, it takes on so much more.
My father's name is on the door. My father worked himself to death doing this. When I first told him I was working 18-hour days, he laughed at me because he used to work 20-hour days. It's my responsibility to my father in his name to make sure that we're at least as good as he was. I can't be any less, or else I get that guilt in the back of my head. We're here 67 years.
We've been here 66 years.
We have a name for 80 years. Why, you know, hopefully sometime we'll be at 300 years.
I'm the third generation owner of Manny's Deli in Chicago, and pretty much been in the neighborhood since 1942. Can you handle it or not, man? Sure.
It's not a numbers game to us. It's keeping ourselves happy, our customers happy, and providing our family traditions to everyone. And it's our blood, sweat, and tears every day going into the restaurant.
Danny did come here right after he graduated high school and said, I really want to work now. I really don't want to go to school. And I said, forget it. I said, get a degree and come back. And 4 years later, he was knocking on the door again.
The first time we were here working was when we were like 10, when we were told to come in on the holidays, on the Jewish holidays at like 12 o'clock at night, and we're making potato salad and coleslaw in the freezer.
When I was 12 and 13 years old, I used to work summers. After doing that, I told my dad, look, I love delivering orders, but I want to do something more. I want to cook. I want to, work the line a little bit. And he goes, what do you mean? You want to wear whites, meaning, the white shirt and white pants? I go, yeah.
And I was the grill boy. Sounds innocuous enough. Hey, you make a hot dog. Let me tell you this. There's 4 waiters on the floor, customers laying out the door, 7 countermen, and all screaming at you. 4 with, 3 plain, 2 this, give me 2 knishes, a 1 round, 2 square, put some mustard inside the knish, and I'm overwhelmed. And I get home at night, I was asleep in bed, and my mother comes into the room, I'm screaming out, Joe, pick up, 4 with, 2 plain, Seymour, pick this up, it's getting cold. And my father was smiling, he says to my mother, this kid's got a future in this business.
Acme's been in my family for 4 generations.
I know we've been doing business for 3 generations.
For 3, I know. And we've been in on Gem Street this entire time. The whitefish come in fresh.
Now, where are the whitefish coming from? Lake
The
Huron?
whitefish come from the Great Lakes.
Great Lakes.
We get fish from Lake Superior, Lake Ontario.
Right.
So this is kind of cool. He's feeding the fish through, and it's taking off all these scales.
Oh, that's amazing. That's pretty neat.
On the other end, you get scaleless fish.
What's amazing is, can you imagine in your grandfather's days, or your great-grandfather's days, they had to be doing that all day long? Now you got a machine to do it?
Yeah. So this is smoked whitefish that's getting ready to be packed.
Look at it, beautiful. Look at all the whitefish.
It's funny, my grandfather used to tell a story that said if we ever make $100,000, I'll be thrilled.
Right.
Now we just want to run a successful business.
Can you mention your great-grandfather, what he would, if he came today and saw all this?
He would not.
He couldn't fathom it.
Would not believe it.
But look how quick he goes through it. Beautiful. And how do you break someone in? You can say, okay, kid, here's a knife.
No, I think a lot of it is experience.
Right.
Like anything, repetition, you become pros. Right.
There's a skill. We cut fish European style. That is from head to tail. So we go all the way across, and when you lift it up, you can see an eclipse through it. If you see my boys and me slice fish, it's beautiful. And when you taste it, you've never tasted anything like it.
What's Nova?
Nova is just Nova Scotia Locks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just smoked salmon is all.
Hey, listen, I got plenty of macaroons in the back. Listen, rather than the tongs, get a slotted spoon for the matzo balls. It's better.
Yeah.
The tongs, they squash the hell out of it. Would you like your balls squeezed?
No.
I'm sure not. Everything is flying because we're getting ready for the holidays for Yom Kippur. This is Saul, but just in case, I want any women that you've knocked up, I want to make sure that they know where you are. Believe me, we can garnish his wages, ladies. It's not a problem. We got Mr. Juan Picas, who keeps everything nice and clean. If not, I'll kill him. This is Herman. Herman's my son, but he looks like his mother.
Yeah.
He cuts fish, he cuts corned beef, he cuts pastrami. Jose watches everything. He really cares. They care, and so does Jasenia. Jasenia, everybody does everything, right? Come here, sweetheart. Look at this. Look how gorgeous this one, like Miss America over here. Moses came here, he didn't know any of this food, but now he cooks it as good as anyone on the face of the earth, or maybe even better. Everybody that works for me is part of my family. I am everything to these people, and these people are everything to me. So it's a two-way street. My people make my business, and there's nothing I wouldn't do for them. ¿Cuántos each caja?
¿Cuánto cuesta cada caja? That's how they call.
Okay.
¿Cuánto cuesta cada caja, señor?
$12.
$12. And what is
No,
this?
bro.
His heart is like huge, big heart. That's good guy.
There used to be a dairy restaurant on 2nd Avenue. We all called it the Dirty Diaper. And when Abe Leavenworth took over the place, he didn't want dairy, he wanted delicatessen. And he started the delicatessen in 1954. And that's why I reached the age of 90, because I ate at the 2nd Avenue Deli.
Abe was an amazing man. He was born in Kazakhstan, which is satellite of Russia. In 1939, Stalin came into his town. His father owned the biggest lumber yard in town and told his father, "You're a capitalist," sent him to Siberia. And in retrospect, the only reason they survived Hitler was because the father was sent to Siberia and they were on a displaced person camp. So he basically came to America with $1 and a dream. And he never forgot his roots. First of all, he had great recipes from Eastern Europe. We used to make a thing called lungen stew, which was the heart and the kidneys and everything. And we'd have limousines from people who were the Holocaust survivors and people who came over first generation. That was their food. That was their food growing up. And where could you find it? So you found it at the 2nd Avenue Deli. It's a link to the past. They called Abe the mayor of 2nd Avenue. His offer that you couldn't refuse was a bowl of soup, a chopped liver sandwich. He would ask, "Are you okay? Is everything all right?" If a person didn't have money for food, he would give them something to eat. His only proviso, if he gave you something, was that you didn't tell anybody. And after Abe was shot, people came in with their memories of a bar mitzvah that they paid for, a wedding, got him through a tough time, gave him a sandwich, took him aside, fed him. He wanted to save the world one sandwich at a time.
I think you're going to hear a lot of people say he was a surrogate father. And one of the most caring and generous people.
Liebwald was gunned down on the streets of Manhattan around 9:30 Monday morning, outside the bank where he had gone to make a deposit. Friends who knew Liebwald for decades say they cannot believe he is gone.
Abe always felt an obligation to the neighborhood, the restaurant. You were the focus of his attention. You were the most important person in the room at that particular moment. That's important. That's what you want out of a restaurant or deli. It's an inclusive restaurant. You come here to be with people, to enjoy people.
If we don't like the people, we always pack it so it leaks a little bit, so it gets all over them. You know what I mean? We kill them a little bit. I love my customers, and if they come in here and they need a little help sometimes, I take care of them. They let me make a living from them, and I never forgot that.
We're a part of the neighborhood. A lot of people, they just know we're here, and it's comforting for them to know that. And they might only come once every 6 months, but every time they come, they feel like, you know, it's home for them. We're like the train station. They can depend on us.
We have a large matzo ball soup, please. Large matzo ball soup. Oh, okay. Well, welcome home. The customer from Florida comes in. His first stop, coming and going, is here.
I can't think of any other restaurant that is woven into the social fabric as kosher delis. Remember, it's a bris, you call us. And by the way, we throw in the ceremonial chali on us. It's a mitzvah. Bar mitzvahs, we do the bar mitzvahs. Full catering, or stuff at home, and we do a shiva work too. So, you know, we're part of that life cycle. Our people come to us for these things. That's part of being in that social fabric.
Congressman Ackerman, it's a farewell party. He's been a congressman in the community for 30 years, and he's just retired. So we're doing the retirement party at Queens College this Sunday.
Hey, President Obama on the phone. President Obama on the phone.
I'm not taking his call.
We had a waitress. Her name was Selma. She was so tall and so wide. And there was this father and son. Father was a widower, and the son was a bachelor. And they would come in to eat in the deli. If you told me 7 days a week, I wouldn't be surprised. They sit down at the counter, and she says, okay, today you're going to have some soup and a steak. You haven't had a steak in a long time, but you're not getting any French fries and no dessert. Look at this, you're putting on weight. And I realized what was her magic charm. She treated the people as if she was the mother, and you come home to the house to eat, and you eat exactly what the mother serves. You don't argue with her. So when people came to the deli, they were coming home to eat, and the type of foods that we serve are foods that you eat at home. The Hamish chicken soup. You have kasher varnishkas and egg balls, stuffed cabbage. You have goulash, chicken fricassee, all the Hamish macholim. That's what you have.
That's what you have, and now you got me so hungry I could eat the table.
So? dish.
In 1931, a city of New York did a survey of kosher eating establishments. In the 5 boroughs of New York, not even including Long Island and New Jersey, there were some 1,550 kosher delicatessens, kosher. And of course, at that time, not all delis were kosher. A great number of them were kosher style. Jewish, but not necessarily kosher, like Katz's, which was never kosher. And you could easily say that it's probably, you know, another 1,500 or 2,000 or 3,000. We don't really know. But certainly at that point, the high watermark of deli, in the New York City area alone, there were thousands of Jewish delis. Thousands of them. Now it's really down to just a couple hundred around the country. You know, a fraction of what they once were.
How many delicatessens were originally here, do you think? You know,
in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Well, I could speak for the early 50s.
Right.
And there were about a dozen, just all within walking distance, including really small ones that were like, 25-seat places.
Right.
I mean, he's talking just like a couple square block radius now. This block had 3. Us, Crown, and Henry, 1 kosher out of the 3. And we were all thriving.
This place, 30 years ago, was rocking. It was a mob. At 4 o'clock, there was a line out the door. And who were my best customers here? Jews. They were my best customers. Not religious Jews. Jews. They ate kosher food 5 days a week. On Saturday and Sunday, they ate Chinese food. That was a Jew, my mother. Those same people, they either died or moved to Florida.
What's behind the decline is kind of complicated. The first factor is demographics. And that changed. As people got more wealthy, as people moved up, as they had the opportunity, they moved to the suburbs, and the suburbs started opening up in the 40s and 50s. And so you went from 3 delis in one block to a giant deli in a shopping plaza in Long Island, which could seat 200 people.
Neighborhood delis, the money that was there years ago, you can't duplicate it today. There's too many things against you. Between city agencies, city ordinances, unions, utilities.
I charge $15 for a corned beef sandwich, right? And people look at me like I'm crazy, right? But the same person goes out at night and goes to a local bar around here, restaurant, orders a $18 martini, right? And they don't bat an eye, right? And they're telling me, what, you don't give coleslaw away anymore? It's like, oh, come on, I got rent to pay.
To my knowledge right now, there are 5 major delis left in New York, and 4 of them own their real estate. Katz's, Carnegie, 2nd Avenue Deli, and Sarge's, so they control their own destiny.
The landmark Stage Deli takes its final curtain call. The famed Manhattan restaurant is now closed. The only warning some customers had was a sign on the door which reads, "Thanks for 75 years." One worker at the restaurant tells us the owners were having financial problems and fighting with the landlord. Those we spoke with say it's sad their favorite spot has served its last meals.
Look at the east side. It's totally different now. They got all these hipster joints, like this crepe place.
Yeah.
Dad, you remember the shul? The first Romanian-American congregation. I don't know, from a shul to retail. I guess it's just a totally different world. It was Grandpa's synagogue. Look at this. You got a Japanese restaurant, and you have the whole synagogue in the top there.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shame, don't you think?
Why?
Because it's like they're washing away our Jewishness.
Nah. They will open someplace else.
But don't you think it's sad that everything...
No, it's not sad. That's time. Time for everything. Everything gets old. It changes. You come here 20 years from now, I bet you wouldn't see one of these tenements anymore.
I know you have a different way of looking at it, that I'm kind of sad. When I see this, it's a progression, and I don't know if I like the progression. I think it's getting homogenized, you know?
That's nature. Nothing lasts forever.
Yeah. Wow.
We don't. Neighborhoods don't.
Let's go see, so run 3 things.
No, you got a little longer? Look at this. I'm not even raising my head. I need a second. Come on, get me a bigger apron, please. I'm not as short as you. I got tall issues. Remember, I can lose weight, but you will always be short. Here we go. We're getting ready for the chicken soup contest. We do this once a year at Temple Emmanuel. We've already made our chicken soup, and hopefully we're going to win. I'm hoping. Where's all the stuff? You loaded it already? We have this whole list?
Mm-hmm. No pressure at all when you're working with Ziggy.
There's never pressure. No.
Never pressure with Ziggy.
Move your ass. All right, thank you.
We've been waiting for an hour for Kenny and Ziggy. It's the best.
Yeah, take them on. Don't be bashful, folks. Don't be bashful. Come on, eat up. I know where I am. Come on. Let's eat some pastrami.
Deep in the heart of Texas.
That's for you. We needed that couple.
Which one? Okay. Hi.
I would like a regular and a little chopped liver.
We've been getting a lot of people, but Kinahara, we're at the point that everyone's coming for seconds and thirds. You want soup? Okay, give him some chicken soup. I didn't know you were cannibal.
And now, the winner of the People's Choice Award, unprecedented, Kenny and Ziggy.
The people have spoken. We got the People's Choice Award. Thank God for that. Plus, feeding him with a little pastrami and chopped liver didn't hurt. Right. What was very shocking in the whole event was, see, I didn't ask Mary to help us. And that really, really was a very lovely, nice thing for her to do. She came in, you turned around, all of a sudden she's standing next to Jeannie, she's slapping up some chopped liver, she's handing out a rugelach. That was very nice. I wasn't expecting that. You know? Some of the other girls that I've dated in the past, they weren't so nice like that. They weren't so thoughtful.
How many onions you want in your? You want them diced?
No. We do the chopper.
No, I don't need a chopper. Chopper. You don't know how to chop an onion?
I don't want to chop an onion. You forget.
I told him, Ziggy, when you meet the right person, you'll know it. That's it. I mean, he's getting up there already. This is the time to get married and the time to have a family. It's nice.
That's what they call a French style roux.
I would like to see him have kids because that's all he wants. And I want to see him go through the pain I've been going through. I really do, because he thinks it's easy.
God bless you, Mary. You got the...
Hey!
Look, I want to get married in Hungary, in the main synagogue, because that's my grandfather got bar mitzvahed in that thing, you know? Listen, he was lucky. He got out, and the family that stayed died in the Holocaust. 3 older brothers and their families. That's why I want to go back. Because it's a complete circle. You know, my grandfather started here, and then, like, basically the tradition's alive, and then end it like that.
Tell me what you think of that bad boy.
You're the best, babe.
It's hot today. Listen, I put in a long day. I'm tired. You know, don't you give me a hard time. That's not nice. Oh, my God.
I get this phone call from a restaurant reviewer, and he says, "Jay, what's new?" I said, "Walter, absolutely nothing. Nothing is new. We make everything the same old way. We prepare everything the same old way. We don't change anything. Everything exactly the way it was when my dad opened the store about 70 years ago. If it's perfect, why change it? This is what we are."
Jewish food is earthy food. A lot of people take it now to, they do this Jewish fusion stuff. Look, don't do Jewish fusion, just do straight Jewish food. When I go to everyone's ethnic restaurant, when I go to I don't want Italian fusion. I don't want Indian fusion. I like Chinese food to be Chinese food. I don't like Chinese fusion. I want Jewish food, no Jewish fusion.
Pastrami and corned beef doesn't just go on sandwiches here. We do pastrami cheese fries. Matt's preparing fried kugel, which is definitely something that Grandma never made. He's balling up noodle kugel, which we'll put in a tempura batter, deep fry it, and cover it in maple syrup. We're a 30-seat restaurant in the far reaches of the most Latino neighborhood in San Francisco.
We both live very close by, and it's a place for us to share Jewish cuisine to a much wider audience and let people know that this is our ethnic food.
Deli is, not a commandment. It's not like thou shalt eat, corned beef and thou shalt have it with mustard. Wise sons said, well, this food is great, We can make it with traditional ingredients and traditional methods. We're going to, render our own schmaltz and do everything from scratch. We're going to bake our own bread. We're going to, cure our own meat and deliver something that's unique. It's not the same old soup reheated, showing the possibility of what it could be without sacrificing in any way the authenticity of it.
Over here, actually, we make a chili, but we use corned beef for the chili. And then it's going to go right over the top of a hot dog, cheddar cheese, onions, like your classic chili dog. And then we put gribness on top to give it a nice little crunch. What's in the Moroccan carrots?
Cardamom, garlic.
We're a neighborhood place that I would want to go, and I want to support the ecosystem around me, With our cultural and religious backgrounds, it's important for us to serve meat that lived a good life, that was taken care of properly, vegetables that are coming direct from the farmer, supporting the ecosystem. It's important.
Look, sometimes the industry has to change. If you have somebody who's never had this stuff before, there is no expectation. So then you can mold the market, you can rebrand it, you can bring it forward. So I applaud that. Look, we're traditional, but we're moving towards other things like salads, and we're taking lung and stew off the menu, and we're taking off heart off the menu, and we're taking off a bunch of the other items that really nobody understands, but not undermining exactly what you come here for.
Bread was walked over this morning from our bakery, which is 2 or 3 blocks away. We're building out a bakery that we think is going to do a lot of baking for us here and for our new location at the Contemporary Jewish Museum downtown.
We make challah every day, but we braid it only for Shabbat. And I think the braiding is just a really beautiful act and special for special days.
Deli, it's not dead necessarily. We think it was just kind of time for a refresh.
I came up with this idea, Jew it up, as a takeoff on do it up. And it's a way of putting a positive connotation on the verb to do something. It means to have fun with it. And really what we like to do around here is Jew it up. It's have fun with being Jewish, of Jewish food and Jewish food culture. It's only a positive thing. It's trying to reclaim that word and that idea.
This is the Leaning Tower of Kaplansky.
I was a dot-com millionaire, a scrap metal broker, a business consultant, owned a chai shop in India. I was a political consultant for a few years. To open a deli in the face of the fact that all these other ones have closed and to have been successful with it is something I'm enormously proud of.
We're most well known for our smoked meat sandwich in the deli section.
I'm not a very religious person, but culturally, my Jewish identity is really important to me. How do you explain to somebody what a matzo ball is without starting into the story of the Exodus from Egypt. You know, it's what's matzah? Why do we have matzah? You know, why is this soup unlike every other soup? And it's another way to subtly introduce the cultural component of the food. And I don't apologize for that. There's no reason I should have to apologize for that. This is who I am. This is what we grew up with.
We'll serve 600 people, 700 people in a day here. You know, the fact that you guys were here yesterday, came back today, says that we're doing something right.
But beyond that, to me, a deli is a community builder. And we do that in a number of different ways.
Welcome to the Clanskys. It's Sunday night, and that can only mean one thing. Storytelling with our host, Michael Wex. Michael, let's go.
Great to be here, as always, on Sundays. Because it's an open mic, there are almost no rules.
We have a series that we call the Battle of the Boobies. We bring home cooks in, bring their recipes in. People love to take part in this. And my favorite, Passover. And having a community Seder in the deli for Passover makes as strong a statement as we can make of inviting the city in to celebrate what is a great freedom holiday with us. So the storytelling, the Battle of the Boobies, and the Passover have all been great ways for me to raise my profile in the community, tell people what we're doing here at the restaurant, and again, it's a way of bringing this food that I love to the city that I love. I'm part of a very important tradition. And when I look in the mirror now, I'm a deli man.
You know, my grandfather had to run from Hungary. We're going to walk back. And we're going to evoke the spirit of all of my past relatives in that synagogue, in that beautiful ceremony. And it's going to be magical because I'm going to be sharing my life with Mary, who I love and adore. But I loved and adored my grandparents so much. And I know that they will be there. And I know they'll be watching me.
The Hungarian ancestors who walked here, your grandfather was bar mitzvah here, if I understand it well, who lived here, whose breath are still here. Their souls, their breaths are now here with you. They look at you and they say, Mazel Tov. They say that it was worth to live in this earth because of you. And you're going to live, with God's help, a happy life together with your families. You're going to have such a good family as you have now. Mazel Tov!
You remember that Spielberg movie where they brought back the woman for one day? I'd love to bring back my grandfather and my grandmother for one day and just have questions to ask them regarding our family and see what they would tell you. Plus, I'd like the gravy recipe.
It's a really hard business, physically, emotionally, financially, and you can't do it unless you love it.
That's why I'm here. I love what I do.
If you put me behind the desk and had to deal with the corporate world, I'd kill myself.
I tried it. Here I am.
I love this business. Baseball game, football game, hockey game, you name it, I never went. I always worked. And if I had to do my life all over again, I would do it the exact same way.
You have to have that love.
I was the guy who says, I'm never going to get on that treadmill. Man, am I on that treadmill.
I never really looked back.
This is going to table 52.
Ziggy Gruber bleeds borscht. And someday, he's going to be on the cover of Time magazine. He's the best.
Sweep it good. Remember, you don't wipe your ass halfway. Hey, did everyone bring their appetite?
Is it a lot of hours? Yes. Does it have its high moments? Yes. Does it have its tough moments? Absolutely. But, I wouldn't trade any of it. This is the life we chose. This is what we're supposed to do.
pastrami, roast beef, turkey, and salami, whitefish, tuna, and chopped liver, noodle, kugel, just a sliver. He came from Deli Land, by you and me, that means New York. His name is Ziggy, and he is a deli man. Makes simple finger food or fancy with a knife and fork. His name is Ziggy, and he is a deli man. One day, while looking for a job that would delight him, his name is Ziggy, and he is a deli man. Who knew that Texas would come calling to invite him? His name is Ziggy, and he is a deli man. Found a restaurant for sale, packed his knives and ginger ale. Told the postman, send my mail to Houston, to Houston. Houston's the place I'm gonna stay, cooking 18 hours a day. Coleslaw, macaroni, kishka, chicken soup is so delish. Quarter pound of lox and sable, bring some bagels for the table. Our boy Chick is in the elite of deli gals and guys. His name is Ziggy, and he is a deli man. He's serves it all from kasha varnichkas to apple pies. His name is Ziggy and he is a deli man. He found love and happiness with no more hesitations. His name is Ziggy and he is a deli man. Put Houston on the map of deli destinations. His name is Ziggy and he is a deli man. Los Angeles, New York and Philly, San Francisco, wet and chilly, Montreal, but flat and hilly. Houston, 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 Houston wears the crown of a genuine Texas deli town.